Hello guys, in today's tutorial we're going to save and load our game. So as you can see right now, every time we play the game, it all starts at 0. And basically what we want to save, we want to save the bananas, and we also want to save the count of each item and the cost of each item, because that's what makes the bananas per second increase. And so to do that, we're going to actually create some new functions and change old ones. So let's get started. First, we're going to take care of the total bananas. So basically there's two instances where that's changed, which is whenever we tap the screen and whenever this update time has passed. Because if you don't remember this, go check this tutorial. I'll put a link in the description. This is the interval between updating that value, because if it's smaller, it will be really quickly update. But if you want, you can update it like instead of every time, like every 2 seconds. So you can do stuff like that. And anyways, you want to save the button whenever those two things happen. So let's just find here. Okay, so the first time is here. This is the update time, and in that tutorial we basically made a counter that every time it reached the update time, it would give the total banana score more bananas. So after that we're going to save that. So to save stuff in Unity, you can save it on the online, but I can't. I don't know how to do that. And or you can save it locally in the player preferences. So we're going to use the player preferences, and you want to save set float. We want to set a float because the total banana score is a float, and we can name it anything you want. I'm going to call it score, and I want it to set it as the total bananas. And now this will save the score. And the other occasion was when we touch the screen, and as you may recall or not, whenever we touch the screen, for each touch that was pressed, we would execute this screen tap function in the banana handler script. So we're going back to that script and find the screen tap function, and in that function, as you can see here, we change the total bananas, and after that we also want to set the score. And that's done. Now we also want to load the score, and we're going to use here. I'm going to create here a new function. It should be a public load public void load stuff. And to load stuff, I have to do is to get access the player preferences. So player preferences dot, and instead of set we want to get a value. So get value, get float, and the name of the key or wherever you name it. And we want to make the total bananas equal to this. So total bananas equal that. And now now we need to call this function somewhere, and we're going to call it in the start or in the awake, whenever you want, but in the start, but in the beginning of the whenever you start the game. So load stuff, and right now the number of bananas are updating. So let me show you. Okay, as you can see, it already saves the bananas. If I have like this number of bananas, and I even increase here this like so, now I have roughly 1,100 bananas. So if I hit play, you'll see that I have 1,100 bananas, as you can see. So it saves. By the way, Unity has this play references which shows you a lot of functions. In this tutorial, we're only going to use the set part and the get part functions, but there's also functions to delete and a key or all of the player preferences. You can also check if there's already a variable in the player preferences, or you can use this to save all of the player preferences, because usually when you set it, you won't actually save it. You set it to be saved, and it will be saved for example, when you close the game or something like that. And using this, it will save it right away. And anyways, with that in mind, now we're going to make it save the count and the cost of each item. And like I said, we want to change that whenever we make the purchase. And we made the purchase over here. And over in here, I'm going to call a function that we actually already had here, called bananas per second. That was made in one of the previous tutorials, where we basically cycled through all items of the shop whenever we bought something. And right now, this function is being called like every single frame, but that's a bit of a waste. So I'm going to delete it from the update function, so it isn't called every frame. And like I said, I want to call this function from the purchase. Because basically what this function is updates the count, the number of items that you have, and the bananas per second. And when is that change? Well, whenever you buy something. So here in the shop handler, we have to create a reference for this script. But because we have already done something like that, we already have here the reference. So public banana handler, ban handler, and this is basically is an instance of a script that is in the banana handler. So we dragged this script into the shop, into this field over here. And anyways, we already have it here, and we want to access this instance and find banana second function. So in the purchase, I want to find the ban handler dot bananas per second, and this will execute that function. And but right now that function doesn't save anything, and we're going to make it save stuff. So like I said, we want to save the cost and the count. So whenever we save something, we want to access the player preferences, and we want to set an int, and the int will be called, well, first it will have the name of the item, so item.name plus count. So basically each player preferences that we create here will have the name and the count. So because we have three items, one of them will be the monkey count, the other them will be the banana tree count, and the last one will be the factory count. And of course we want them to set to be something. And remember, this for each loop is cycling through all the items. If you don't know much about for each loops, go check tutorials in the description. Anyways, want this to be equal to the item dot count. Oops, count, like so. And also, you also want to set the float, which is the cost. So, like we did in for the count, want to set item.name. Want to name that variable or key or whatever you want to call it. Item, the name of the item, cost, so monkey cost or banana tree cost, and you want to set it to be equal to the item dot cost. And with that done, all we need to do is to load this whenever we start the game again. So remember, we already made a function where we load stuff, which is this function over here, and we're going to also load these two fields into the game through there. Anyways, we need to create a for each loop again because we want to cycle through all the elements. So I'm going to copy this, which cycles through every item in the shop items, which is of the class item, which is this class over here, item class. And what we want to do is to set stuff. So we want that item, each item dot cost to be equal to whatever the cost that was saved. So player preferences dot set float, and you want the item cost to be equal to what we named it, which was item dot name plus cost, like so. And we also want to set the count to be equal to whatever is in the player preferences which was an int. So oh, I'm putting here set, but we actually want to get. So we want to get the float here, and we want to get the int. So dot get int, and that int was called item name. It was called the name of the item plus count like so, and this should be working, but it actually isn't, because all we need to do is one little thing. So imagine right now that we play the game. If you play the game, it would load this over here, but because there is no, this field over here doesn't exist, to load 0 into here instead of the price that we set to be the initial price over here, the cost. So it wouldn't work. It would appear each item would cost 0, and it would screw up the game, and you'll have to delete the player preferences, and that actually happened to me. Anyways, there's the get float and the get int also have another field over here that you can use it or not, which is a default value, which is a value when you didn't set it. So basically the very first time you start the game. So what we want it to be in the first time when you start the game? Well, we want that, well, this goes check this key, and it doesn't find anything, so it sets it to be equal to the item.cost, which is the initial cost that we set over here. And that's done. Let's hit save, and now to check that everything is working, I'm going to hit play, and here I'm going to open to get some items, say 1 2 3, and you see that they have these values. For example, the cost is 2166. So okay, now I want to close the game, so I close the game and it saves everything. And if I open it again, and if I go onto the shop, oops, if I go onto the shop, I just bought a new monkey over here by mistake, but anyways, it was one. If you are going to shop, this is still 2.21.6, and this is 2, and this is 3. So as you can see, it saved correctly. Anyways, thank you for watching this tutorial, and see you in the next one.